You're listening to international investment advisor Doug Goldstein on the Goldstein on Gelt show, the financial show where we'll talk about how you can make the most of your money. With all the confusing financial chatter bombarding you each and every day, Goldstein on Gelt will give you the practical information you want and need about living a financially stable life. Here's your host, money maven Doug Goldstein.
Okay, we are back. I'm very happy to have on the Goldstein on Gelt show Jill Vanderwood, who is an author and a speaker. And when I say a speaker, I don't mean just a speaker, but in fact, she wrote a book to help other people become excellent speakers, which is such an important skill in so many areas of life. The name of her book is called Shaking Behind the Microphone, Overcoming the Fear of Public Speaking. Jill, a real pleasure to have you.
Thanks. I'm very glad to be here, Doug.
So give us a little background. How did you get involved in the whole public speaking game?
Well, when I was in my 50s, I became an author for the first time, and I had never spoken in public, or if I had to, it was very uncomfortable, and I was actually terrified. But when my first book came out, I had learned a lot of things, and I decided I wanted to teach a workshop for other writers. And with that, I volunteered to teach at a conference, and I was accepted as a speaker. And then I had 6 months to prepare, and I didn't know what to do. So I went to a Toastmasters group, and I learned some speaking skills from them, which helped to prepare for my talk. But I was still really nervous when the talk came up.
So what happened?
With my first workshop, I was at the conference and I talked to other people who had done workshops throughout the day, and mine was going to be right after lunch. So 2 people told me that they only had 2 people at their workshop. So I thought, well, I'm going to be just great because I have my friend and I have my sister-in-law with me. So those will be my 2 people, and I'll be perfectly comfortable. But when I got into the workshop, the chairs started filling up, and even the chairs on the side were full, and there were authors that I knew were really well known in the room. And I was just beginning, and I was so nervous all of a sudden. And I had taken an allergy pill just to get rid of the phlegm in my throat. And my mouth got so dry that my teeth were stuck to my lip.
Oh, no.
And I just had to keep drinking water, and I just kept going. And by the end of the workshop, somebody told me that I seemed a little nervous at first, but that I had loosened up. But to myself, I didn't think I had even loosened up at all. And I was so happy, though, because I had accomplished this thing, and it was an hour. I had spoken for an hour to all these people, and I didn't care that I might have lost my place in my notes several times because I had accomplished this thing.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, first of all, good for you. Good for you for getting over it. You were able to find the confidence and actually deal with the fear of failure, which I think in so many areas is important. A lot of people say that the fear of public speaking is worse than the fear of dying. People are so afraid of it. What would you recommend to someone to help get over the fear of speaking?
I would recommend that you prepare very well. Don't go up in front of people without knowing what you're talking about. Also, I would say go to the Toastmasters group if you can find one. They're usually in a bigger city. They usually run everywhere, all over town. It's kind of like finding an AA meeting. You could find one almost any time of the day and everywhere. And they really do rescue you. They help you to get out of your comfort zone, and they do prepare you by, you can't walk into a room and just be just be an observer. You have to participate in something. So they'll give you a job right away.
I think that's very important. We're talking with Jill Vanderwood, who is an author and a speaker. And in fact, today we're focusing more on her speaking career. She also wrote a book about speaking called Shaking Behind the Microphone, Overcoming the Fear of Public Speaking. And she gave us a little bit of a background of her story. So I'd like to dive into something you said, which I think is so important, not only in the world of public speaking, but, well, as you know, the Goldstein on Gelt show is a personal finance show. And one of the things you touched on was that if you are dealing in a situation where you're afraid, like public speaking, or like in investing, is you have to prepare well. So I'll often tell people that, if you want to get into investing, don't start by throwing your money into an investment first. The first thing is to begin to learn about it and to prepare. And I like to think that people who listen to the show learn a lot too. Tell us what you mean by preparing. How can someone prepare for a speech? And maybe we can find some parallels in preparing for investing.
Well, the first thing I do is I usually speak on a topic that I know a lot about. Because if I don't know the topic, it's a lot harder. So I will write down every word that I want to say, and I will read that over and over, and I'll read it so many times that it's kind of in my mind. And then that's for maybe a week, and then after that week, when it's getting closer to the talk, I will take those notes and make them into bullet points and just use keywords that remind me of what I wanted to say. And it doesn't even matter if I do it in the right order, as long as I know the topic so well. And then I will use those instead of using notes. I don't want to use a whole bunch of sheets of paper because you'll lose your place very quickly.
That is very true. So then what do you do to prepare?
And then when it's time to go on the stage, I make sure that I have an outfit that looks good on me, that I'm not concentrating on myself and being self-conscious. I have to make sure my pants are hemmed and, I don't have any kind of malfunctioning thing on my outfit. And then when I get up there, I want to concentrate only on my message and my audience. And I don't want to concentrate on what are these people thinking. Do I have something in my teeth and that sort of thing.
I think that's great. I'll tell you, I'm finding, as you're saying it, I'll just tell you something, Jill, I think you might find interesting that one of the areas that I like to study as an investment advisor is I study chess. And in fact, I recently wrote a book about how these strategies of chess can be applied to investing. So I always like trying to find parallels from different areas. And I've been involved in public speaking for decades because just in my field, I get the opportunity to speak a lot. And some of the terms that you're using are reminding me so much of the ideas that we talk about in investing. And just for example, you're describing that you like to make sure that the technical details are well organized so that you can focus on your message. And that reminds me a lot of what I'll say to clients, which is, in investing, there's millions of things you can think about. And if you get so wrapped up in all of these details and you're always focusing on this stock or that dividend or that statement, you just can't manage the big picture. You can't get your investing message across. So I always like to do what you said, which is know the topic very well. And in personal investing, the number one topic is you. Investing is not about the stock market. It's about what you should be doing for yourself. That's your message. And then once you really know your topic, which means how much money do I need to spend? What do my investments look like? How should I organize it? Then the technical details, either you have someone else do it, right? You let a money manager do it, or you set them up in such a way so that you can always focus on your main message. So I'm finding great parallels in what you're saying to the world of investing. But let's go back to the public speaking question, which is, if someone wanted to get up and speak, and I think it's important, by the way, on a show like ours, because so many people in business, for example, have to give presentations, but they're literally scared to death to do it. What would you suggest to someone who's never spoken before? As a few tips to get him rolling.
I would suggest that they just. My first tip is never say no. Always say yes, and then figure out what you're going to do.
What do you mean by that?
You're jumping right in, but you don't know what you're doing. So after you've already accepted the opportunity, then you go back and figure out how you're going to do this and what you're going to do. And the second one is to look for things that are on your topic. So don't speak on something that someone else knows so much more about, but you don't know anything. So find something that you can speak about that really reflects your personality.
Okay, I think that sounds like very good advice. Jill, we're nearing the end of our time, but I just want to ask you a question because when I look at your website and see other things you've written, it seems to me like you've written a lot about dealing with the next generation. You actually, from what I understand, you co-authored a book with your granddaughter. Could you tell us about that?
That's a book called Drugs Make You Unsmarter. And my granddaughter was 15 years old, and I had asked her if she wanted to write a book with me. And I thought she would do a picture book, and she wanted to tell kids to stay away from drugs. And her father had been in prison for drug-related crimes.
Wow. So you really had what to teach. And the other book you wrote is What's It Like Living Green? Kids Teaching Kids by the Way They Live. The reason I'm asking about this is because one of the issues that I see so often is that people, grown-ups try to teach the next generation about things that they don't do very well, like manage their own money. How do you get into the head of the younger generation so you can write and teach them?
I did that by interviewing kids who were already living green because I felt that they were the ones that could teach how to live green, and they could teach other kids and even their parents. So by using their stories instead of me preaching to them, it was easier to reach that audience.
I like that. So I think that's an important lesson also in teaching kids about money. My daughter also teaches about money. She speaks on that as well. And I always think it's probably better coming from her because she's already talking to that generation, and it's much better than when some old folks like us start to preach. Anyway, Jill, we're just about out of time, but in the last few seconds, tell us, how can people follow you, follow your work, and find your books?
Okay, you can find me on Facebook, and I have a website called JillVanderwood.com. It's VANDERWOOD, and the name of my book is Shaking Behind the Microphone, Overcoming the Fear of Public Speaking, and it's available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
All right, and we will put links to that at the show notes of today's show at GoldsteinOnGelt.com. Jill Vanderwood, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
You've been listening to the Goldstein on Gelt Show with money maven Doug Goldstein. Doug's weekly radio show is heard around the world, but if you miss it, you can download the podcast at www.goldsteinongelt.com. The Goldstein on Gelt Show gives you up-to-date financial ideas so you can get on the path to financial freedom. If you'd like your questions answered on the air or off, send Doug an email to doug@profile-financial.com. It's your money for your future, so join Doug every week to build your wealth on the Goldstein on Gelt Show.